welcome to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. I'm Ivy, your lovely spider host, and today we're working on Greek mythology monster boys. Obviously, I just based them on monsters that already exist in Greek mythology, but I made them their children. I pulled a monster high and made them have children that they canonically do not have. I just thought it would be kind of cool because I can make my own spin-off mythology and have a little more freedom, because sometimes when you're working with like mythology, there's a lot of like mistranslations. There's a lot of people who like one interpretation and not the other, and I don't want to mess with that. Sometimes people get a little spicy if you mess with their favorite Greek story and you either misinterpret something or it's not the specific version they like to go with. And that's nothing against everything, because sometimes there's like complications with old text and reading like a bunch of lore from ancient times, but obviously I just want to have a little more creative freedom to go with like an interpretation I like, and then on top of it I get to make children for these Greek mythology monsters. So yeah. I just thought that would be more fun, obviously, because it helps me give a little more wiggle room to what I want to do lore wise. Anyways, let's get into the video. So hi, let's get into this part of the video. So Eris was the child of the Minotaur and a nymph. Basically a nymph is a minor goddess that rules over like a nature aspect, like of, I don't know, for instance, like maybe a tree, like a sacred tree or a pond. Basically a nymph decided, ooh, I like the big scary bull man, let me go get a piece of that. It's a little better than how the bull man was made, because this is a little gross. Like, Poseidon, what the hell? Why you make the lady fall in love with the bull? You get my point. There's a lot of things in mythology where it's like that's a little suspicious. That's a little taboo nowadays. It's still taboo. I feel like it would have been back then, but you get my point. Mythology's weird. They did a lot of weird shit. Basically, Eris is the child of a nymph and the Minotaur, and basically he was raised by a bunch of nymphs outside of the labyrinth, a little farther away from their labyrinth, because he's basically a secret child. Like, nobody knows that the Minotaur had a child with a nymph, and basically he's like a demigod. He has some power over some like, I don't know, I feel like he would have some minor powers over like plants and stuff, but he's actually very cool. He's very even-tempered. He's very sweet. He is not very rageful like his papa, but he has gotten into fights because people think, oh god, that's another Minotaur, we're all gonna die, let's try to kill the man. And obviously it doesn't work, because he's just vibing. He's like, I don't want to do this, and then he ends up having to fight for his life, and obviously, yeah, he has to defend himself somehow, so that's why he got some boo-boos on him. But that's Eris. He's cool. This is Amaros. Amaros is the child of I think it's Podrage. Podrage. I don't know how to pronounce her name. She's a famous harpy who basically birthed Achilles like immortal horses. So basically he has siblings that are horses. Basically Amaros, he works for Zeus, because in like Greek mythology lore, harpies are meant to be like, I wouldn't say like warning signs. It'd be more like, hey, Zeus would be, it's like the Judge Judy meme. Zeus would be like, we cannot do this again. Bailiff, whack his pee-pee. And he would send the harpies after people he didn't like, or who kind of like effed Zeus over. So like humans that just peeved off Zeus, they get the harpy treatment. And the reason that they get the harpy treatment is because they have a tendency to bring like, I guess, I wouldn't say pestilence, kind of pestilence, like basically they stink so bad because they eat dead corpses. And they bring stank. They rot your food. They're like bad omens. They basically annoy you and with all their bad luck until you're dead. So Amaros, he's just vibing. He has a connection with Iris a little bit because his mom has a connection with Iris. It's pretty cool. This is Ignatius. Ignatius is very cool. He is a giant Hydra boy. Basically, Hera said, "Oh no, my fallen warrior." he got beat up by Hercules, but I still want a cool dragon boy. Like, I still want my cool dragon to beat up other people I don't like. So I'm gonna bless the Hydra's corpse, and basically his corpse, kind of in a similar way how like Medusa gave birth through her head. Basically, the Hydra gave birth through their head and created this somewhat sentient and humanoid boy. His name is Ignatius, like I said, and basically he is half Hydra, half I guess humanoid, because you know Hera said, "Let me bless that. Let me give it a little bit of my spice." I don't know. Honestly, she just blessed it. It wasn't like she actually did things to them. Ew, no. That's gross. Don't even think that way. She just blessed the corpse. Basically, it was like, give me new Hydra, boink, and then he just came out the head like, "Hello, everybody, hello." Like that one meme for silence. Stop fighting. Hello, daddies. Hello. But you get my point. It's just he just emerged from the Hydra's head, and he's just like, I ain't gonna fight you because I'm freshly out the womb. You go on your merry way. I gotta go see my mom. I guess Hera would be kind of like a tangential mom, because she's like, my Hydra, my cool Hydra, my cool dragon, it's dead now. Can I just copy paste? Let me get my Hydra back. And that's how he came along. I tried to make it interesting and unique, where it isn't always like there's a parent and stuff. Like there's like a parent, because obviously you gotta do something to get an offspring, but it's not always like the boinkening. It's more like, hey, let me bless this monster with a nice little child they can take care of, even though the Hydra was already you get my point. Hera's like, I want another Hydra, give me that Hydra. Give birth through your head, give. It's like how Zeus was like, oh, I gave birth through my noggin. Like Athena just walked out of my head. So it's kind of like the weird birth. I try to do it in a way where it's like it works a little better. You get my point. I feel like I'm over explaining myself, but I try to make it work that where it doesn't seem all weird and stuff. Basically, he's cool. I worked on that dragon skin for so long, that's why this is longer than all the rest of the drawings. So I'm just look at all that scales. Look at all those scales. Look at all that detail. Look at all that yummy detail I did. So delicious, so nice. Look at all those scrumdiddlyumptious little scales. I worked so hard on that. This time lapse was like 7 minutes long compared to the other ones, and I had to shorten it extremely much. So, anyways, the next child is going to be, Euryclus. Euryclus is the humanoid-esque child of Cerberus. Cerberus didn't boink anybody. I feel like it would be more like, Hades and Persephone, or just kind of like, hey, I feel like Cerberus needs I wouldn't say like an usurper, but more of like somebody to take his place when, you know, Cerberus just wants to have a little retirement fun, or just needs a break, or is off doing his own thing, you know, just they want to spend more time with Cerberus, so it's like, hey, you do his job for a little bit. Euryclus is more, he's not as giant as his papa, but it's more just like Euryclus is like, I guess he's more of like a therapeutic method to handling spirits wanting to wander out of the underworld and stuff, because Cerberus always kind of goes a little too heavy-handed, where they get really aggressive and they basically just so Euryclus is kind of more of a therapeutic version, where it's like people like the ghosts in the underworld kind of look to him as a comfort way to like be like, can you comfort me? Can you comfort my soul and just ease me back into the river? You know, I don't know, just something to kind of ease them in a more easier way to soothe the soul, rather than just fucking yeet them into the river. You get my point? Because like the whole point is that Cerberus is like the being that protects the kind of workings of the underworld, where like they basically keep the spirits in, and they keep the bad guys who were in Tartarus, like in Tartarus. You get my point. Basically, basically the whole point is that Euryclus is like, okay, you can't go into the overworld. I know your loved ones are up there, but you gotta stay here. You gotta stay here. Just chill. You know. But they're still as mean as aggressive with their papa, just in case somebody tries to escape Tartarus. You get my point. This is Wirgos. He's cool. He's a Cyclops. His brother is a famous Cyclops you may have seen in the Odyssey. He's a child of Poseidon, that one nymph. I forget the name of the nymph, but you get my point. He has beef with humans because humans actually captured or managed to knock him over and cut off his arm with like a mechanism, like a giant trap mechanism, and so basically he lost his arm. His papa, Poseidon, as he has comforted his brother Cyclops, he he gets comforted by his papa, and he basically, you know, he gets his revenge on the humans, and he unfortunately doesn't get his arm back, but he gets bandaged up, and he gets all his sheepies. He gets all his happy little sheepies. His sheep are like his livelihood. He likes taking care of his sheep. The sheep are not scared of him. They look to him as a source of comfort because humans keep trying to invade his island and kill all his sheep that he has been given by his papa. And his papa is like, don't let anybody hurt your sheep. And he's like, I'm not going to. These are my sheep, my sheepy weepies. As you can see, the adorably drawn, stupid looking sheep at the bottom of his feet. I tried to make them silly, but basically, Yorgos is like, you have to understand, he loves his sheep. He will protect them with his life. He has on multiple occasions protected them with his life, and he lost his arm because of it. But basically, he looks scary and stoic and mean, and he looks like he's peeved off of everybody in his way, but he's actually a really sweet person. He just wants to take care of his sheep. He's just like, I love my sheep. They're my sheep. They're his babies. Those are his babies. Those are his children. Those are his babies. He takes care of them like they are his actual born children. He loves his sheep. They're his special little sheeps. And I drew them very derpily because it's the whole point. It's supposed to be his silly little sheeps. Anyways, here are the boys. Ba, Eris. Ba, 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 ba. Omeros. Ba, 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 ba. Ignatius. If that went a little long. Ignatius. Ba, 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 ba. And then we got Euryclus. Doobie doobie doo. Then we got Yorgos. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. So yeah, those are my Greek mythology boys. I'm still trying to come up with like solid lore for them. I still kind of have to like feasibly make it a little more easier, and I try to make it to where it isn't as, I don't know, you get my point. I'm trying to make it where it's not as taboo as old Greek mythology lore is. So I had random like different ways of like birth, where it's not technically like the boinking of like actual like monsters that shouldn't be boinked, that they're a little too animalistic, and it's like, oh, ew. So, you know, you get my point. I try to make it a little easier, and of course, I just found it really cool making some random lore for some feasible Greek mythology children. So, if you have any recommendations on what I should do for lore, and maybe some ideas, leave them in the comment, because these are still not set in stone, and I still have to work a lot on these characters. These are just updated art versions of them, because I wanted to update some stuff. I want your input. What do you want? What you think I can do? Anyways, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.